Hello guys, once again, Bobbery.com here, continuing playtest matches for the Proder. So preparations continue. This time around it's Jeskai Tokens on the left side of the screen and Red Green Devotion on the right side. So let's see what's gonna happen. We're shuffling up. Pretty basic deck lists, like you've probably seen them already. They're almost replicas of the top 8s from the previous couple of SCG Opens, particularly the one in Chicago. So Devotion obviously wants to be on the play and go with mana dorks and some big trumps. For example, like Polocranis into Whisperwood into Atarko or something like that. So that's the ideal scenario. But because the Tokens list plays a couple of Valorous Stance's main deck over Lightning Strike, so the deck has quite a lot of game against big monsters. Now, as you may have had a glimpse, we did make a few proxies printouts for some of the decks. Just a couple for each deck or something like that, because we're testing a very big standard gauntlet. All flavors of control decks, Devotion, Jeskai, some aggro decks. I'm on the right. The Devotion player had to mulligan down to 6, and with the new rule I get to scry, so hoping to get enough lands and enough mana dorks, enough of mid game, somewhere in the combination of the starting cards and the next top deck. Now we're finally rolling, but I'm on the automatic mulligan to 6. We know what each other is playing, so deciding who goes first before, after seeing our hands doesn't really matter all that much, because we know each other's lists, and we just wanted to speed up the playtesting. So Temple from him and Carrotted on turn 2 from me. Good start. Plains and a Seeker of the Way. Courser on turn 2. I have a third land. Top deck is Elvish Mystic. I laid down a Nexus, Nycthus, whatever. So it's tricky. Top deck is a Nissa. My cat at home is going crazy. I hope you won't hear her too much. Attack with the Courser, I think it's relatively safe. He can't cast double slash here. Had to cast Raise Alarm here. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked, but it was relatively safe and I'm at the high life total. Mystic first, using Nexus, generate 4, Genesis Hydra for 2, a miss. Okay, I forgot that's like, I'll get to see the top deck after I shuffle from the Hydra. He was a bit surprised that I cast Hydra here, but with him having some pressure on board, I wanted to have like more action and I wanted to hit the land. After I get to do all the mambo jumbo with the Hydra. He already wanted to start his turn, but he forgot that like I could still like play land from the courser if I hit it. I didn't hit it, it was a mystic. I had more action in hand and I just wanted to hit lands. And even if I would draw like Nissa next turn, well yeah, I would get a land from Nissa, but that's kinda slow and I didn't want to basically do nothing on that previous turn. So he shocked the Hydra and attacked for 5. So potentially that was a mistake here. The one singleton Ugin on top of my deck. So another mistake, so that Nexus produces the same amount. I get 5 from the Nexus here. Whisperwood. Basically manifesting Ugin. Perhaps that was a misstep because I saw the Ugin, and Ugin is pretty nice against him, and potentially I could have cast it next turn or the turn after. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I would have that much mana next turn unless I would play something with a double ring cost. I don't remember what was left in my hand there. If it was something like Polokronos, that would be like probably correct way to cast him first and then maybe have enough mana for Ugin next turn. Xenagos on top. I mean the draw. Next draw is the Hydra, I think. All he did was cast a Jace on his turn. I think I decided not to attack there, or did I? Yeah, he just passed without attacking or anything. Yeah, so casting first Xenagos from 2 lands and 2 mystics. Plus on that to get a bunch of mana. We're counting the mana from him and what I get in addition by activating Nexus. Even though there is a Genesis Hydra on top, but I think, I think it was another Hydra for me. Hornet Queen. Did I have enough like the turn before? I had only 6 mana, so I couldn't have cast the Hornet Queen instead of the Whisperwood, so that was a problem a bit. So I suppose it was okay the way I played out the top decks and the hand in this game. So attacking with the Courser and the Whisperwood, kind of trying to push the damage through. I'm at 16 yet, so that's not too bad, and I'm flooding the board with a lot of things here. He's debating whether to cycle with Jace now or do it later on. But with the Hornet Queen, I'm moderately safe because these are pre-board games, so he doesn't have even stuff like Arc Lightning, not to say like Anger, which is gonna be bad for him in this situation, but maybe in the Necessity. But I would have a lot of 4 toughness guys which will survive it. Barrage of Boulders is bad on his deck. Scarring Sands is kind of okay-ish, but still not as great as in like Goblins or something like that. Here is the main card of the deck, Jeskai Tokens. He cast it and decided to attack with the Seeker to switch on lifelink. Block with a Hornet token. So he gets to gain some life here in the process. Plays a land and passes. I draw a temple. Next draw is a rattle claw mystic. Play a temple. I don't want that mystic for sure. I want some boom booms or courser or something like that. And then I see another Xenagos the Reveler. I have crazy amount of mana here, but nothing much to do with it. So all I can do is just make a Doge Satyr token from Xenagos and try to raise. The manifests, I think, are pretty much blanks. Nothing exciting there. I think it was like a land and the Hydra or something like that. I don't know, Ugin and the Hydra. So yeah, blanks. So I'm attacking with a Satyr, 3 Hornets, the Queen. I'm debating about attacking with manifests. I think it's actually kinda safe to attack with manifests here because I'm still left with like 5 blockers to his 3 guys, including Jace, even though like he could play like a Praise Alarm end of turn and then on his turn try to go for the W. But he would have to like shoot some of my guys and I'm at 17, so yeah, it really seemed like safe to attack with the manifests. I was totally fine if they would trade with his tokens. He can't block the fires, of course. Yeah. Plus I would get 1 more blocker end of turn by manifesting Xenagos from the Whisperwood. I think what he did is just he took it all in. Because I think like if he would block, he would just not have any kind of way to win this game whatsoever. So he lists with a Jace, trying to dig for some help, maybe change some free cheap spells to threaten little with tokens in Ascendancy or something like that, or chain a bunch of Stoke the Flames to Had, or things of that nature. So he's tanking for quite a while here. Trying to figure out what to do. He shocked me just to loot and try to dig through his deck for some action or for some answers, but I have such an overwhelming board position, and I remind you once again this is a main deck game, so no Anger of the Gods, no end hostilities from his side to try to reset the board. But I have the Whisperwood, so something like end hostilities wouldn't have been so crazy here. Drew another Xenagos and the Tark on top of my deck, so what I do is just make a Satyr from the previous Xenagos, play the new one, get another Satyr token, and just draw with most of my guys, force him to block and basically have nothing on the next turn, because I still have so many blockers. Even if I attack with most of the squad, like all the tokens, all the manifests. So 3 manifests and 3 Satyr tokens and all the flyers, and keeping the rest on the in case he goes bananas, which I don't think he can afford to. I think this is almost littles. No, 6 by 6, 12, and then 5 with flyers, so that's 17. If he blocks 2, still little, no, 5. If he blocks like 2 twos, that's 8 plus 5, that's 12. Okay, so he casts Ojutai's command, brings back Jace, gains 4 life, cycles, blocks with the tokens, keeps the Jace, takes a bunch of damage, goes to 2, his tokens die, might as well. I mean, my manifests, because he played a spell, so his tokens were 2/2s, thanks to Ascendancy. So I don't know what's his hope, like, Hordling Outburst into Stoke, or something like that. Because with an active Jace, like, 2 active Jaces, basically, in different forms, I suppose that was theoretically possible to dig into something like that, but that was like really a miraculous kind of sequence he needed to draw and have enough mana to cast all that. First off, he gets a cruise. Before it resolves, he gets the loot with Ascendancy. With those triggers on the stack, he decides to loot as well with the Jace. Jace untaps, he gets the loot from Ascendancy. Then he resolves the cruise. So draws 3. He's on 6 mana left over. I don't think he played the land yet. Loots with the Jace. Discards the lands. Tries to figure out what's the best line of play. Gives a monastery and another land, casts Stoke, loots away land from Ascendancy, Chase untapped, but yeah, like no double reds, no goblins. He did draw the goblins eventually, but it was a bit too late. He needed to draw that before he started to cast Stoke the Flames to my hand. And with the flip Chase, he could have flashed back to Stoke. So theoretically there was a way out, but he needed really to draw the spells in the right order. But yeah, it's really ridiculous how he actually had a chance to filter for the deck and potentially draw the right combination to kill me that turn. So yeah. Still, it was a very, very exciting game. Quite a bit of interaction, quite a bit of plays, and we actually get to play a proper game of Magic. So shuffling up for the next one. It's hard to say which deck would be favored post-board, but between Disdainful Strokes, Angers, and then Hostilities, Jeskai definitely stands a chance. And the problem with the Red Green Devotion that I've noticed, not only in this test matchup, or in the previous one in this series of playtest matches, but before playing with different green devotion decks with a different second color, be it, well, any other color, blue out of black, is that sometimes you draw all the matadors or all the expensive creatures. So he went on the play with a turn to Seeker. I fetched on my turn, actually, on my second turn, to cast an Elvish Mystic. I know, sorry. Turn to Caryatid, right. Confusing the games a little bit. I definitely don't block here. Like, raise alarm and then my Caryatid is dead. Actually, in this matchup, I think he's most of the time a beatdown deck and I'm the reactive deck. Well, not quite reactive deck, but I'm not the beatdown in this matchup, I think. More would just eventually dump a lot of things on board and try to survive, and then switch into the beatdowns in the mid to late game. So Polychronos on turn 3 from me. Caryatid did a lot of work here. Just Ascendancy from him on turn 3 and nothing else. No, turn 4, I think. Yeah. So he missed his land drop. And just a casual Whisper Wood on turn 4 from me after attacking with Polychronos. So things are starting nicely for me. Shucking away the Manifest creature. Prowess and Ascendancy trigger and his guy, which is a 4/4 now lifelinker. So when we're spelling, he safely can attack into Whisperwood. That's what he does. But I'm at 14, which is scary. If I don't block, I take 4 and go to 10. And I have more action in hand, so I decide to block. And that wasn't the best block ever, of course. He goes for, I think, Wild Slash. To head and make his guy bigger. I think he looted away a cruise from Ascendancy, which is strange, but he's stuck on 3 lands, so probably that was correct of him. I'm attempting to Monstrous Polychronos for 2 to eat his Seeker, but even after he played 2 Wild Slashes and there's only 1 left in his deck, he does have the 3rd Wild Slash, which is incredibly annoying considering the odds. So his guys survive, and I decide not to attack to give him even more life, plus I'm myself at 10, and he has Ascendancy and a potentially large creature in play. So in the second main, I just play a temple and contemplate whether to keep it on top or bottom. And I decided to keep it on top. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been an Ogin that I don't remember exactly. He fetches, so he finally drew his land number 4. But I think he doesn't have that many cards in his hand. But fortunately for him, one of them is a Treasure Cruise. He gets to loot first with Ascendancy, pitches another land, so now he doesn't really need that many lands because he gets to draw 3 more cards. And the land number 4 was the most essential one. Valorous Stance and my Pulchronus gets to load again. His guy now is a 6/6 dude. Thanks to Ascendancy Triggers and Prowess, he gets to gain a shitload of life. I'm down to just 4, and he's at 31, and things started well here, but he got to dig through his deck quite a lot. So I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I'm dead to this Stoke the Flames, that's for sure. But there are only 4 of those in his deck. All his wild slashes are gone. So the odds are not that big, but he already drew through a big part of his deck. I'm trying to figure out how to make a good use of Nexus, and I think I had Xenagos in hand. So I decided to cast Mystic, then play Xenagos, uptick it, get 2 mana and cast a second Sylvan Carotid, so I have 2 blockers to survive his shenanigans, one of which is a hexproof creature. So I get to block for sure. He casts the second Ascendancy, lives from the first one, discards another Seeker, attacks with the first Seeker, which is lethal already. I block with the Carotid. I blocked with the Rattle Mystic because he allowed me to block. Elvish Mystic first, so that I get more mana from Nexus or Xenagos. Uptick the Planeswalker. Three mana plus another mana from a land, Pulchronus. Now from the Nexus I have a lot of mana, but he shows me a Stoke the Flames, which he already dug. So I needed to hit like a Courser here and gain the lives to get up to 5. I think he had like double Stoke the Flames in his hand, which is ridiculous. But yeah, considering like how much he draws through the deck, maybe it's not too surprising, but still a little bit, how to say, not ridiculous, but just amazing. If not for the Stokes, I would be stabilizing, but yes, all he really needed to do in that game at the end is just to dig until he gets those. He wasn't really dying anytime soon. So it's not exactly lucky top decking or something like that, but a little bit. There are only like 4 cards in his entire deck left which actually do anything in that position. After all, Temple, I think I kept it on top. He scries with his Temple, also keeps it. Go for a Mystic and just pass. He shocks it, which is really annoying because I wanted, I think, to cast a Pulchronus next turn. Right, he scries with another Temple. Kept it. Outburst. If I would have had already a Pulchronus, like here, would have felt so much better, because then if he doesn't have a Valorous Stance, I would have wiped his tokens away. Instead, I have to settle for for a Rattle Claw. Ah, maybe I didn't have the Pulchrinus in hand. Sorry. I suppose I had something like a Whisperwood. Or no. So he stokes my creature, attacks for 6 because of Ascendancy trigger. My hand is pretty annoying, a bunch of big boom booms, and my 5th land is a second Nexus, which is really awkward here. So I'm showing it up to him to discuss the lines of play. So I could play Xanagus, make a token, but that's really bad. I could just take money into pool, like play Nexus and kind of sacrifice a land and play Whisperwood. Chance's Hydra for 2 or for 3 also didn't seem that great. And Autarka is like far away from being castable here. So he has a Valor Stems for my Whisperwood. Now I'm left with just a Manifest. You can see that he has 2 Stokes of Flames in his hand. Cast one of them to burn away the Manifest, which is sadly a land which was so needed that last turn, but it wouldn't have mattered because he has the Nut Butters. Looting, drawing with Treasure Cruise, blah blah blah. Casting another Stoke to Flames to head down to 10. I think he has at this point like 3 Ascendancy pumps, so tokens are 9/9 or something, or maybe even bigger. No, he got Stance, 2 Stokes, and a Cruise, so that's 4 pumps, or maybe like he cast something else. I'm not sure. I think it was 4 spells, so the tokens were 5/5, and I just took 15 damage, so going to -5, and yeah, that's what happens. So yeah, Devotion really needs own Anger of the Gods, which are actually not that great, but kind of necessity in this matchup. For Barrage Boulders is actually quite okay, probably even better than Anger. Doesn't kill your Caryatids and some other stuff. Right, and it's so crucial like to start with a bunch of mana dorks and then to be able like to cast those boom booms. But he still has the Stokes and the Stances, and especially after sideboards, it's like he has own sweepers, so it's really tough. Or the Zinful Strokes for the big creatures. So really not that great of matchup for the Green Devotion deck. That's for sure. So try a land on turn 1. We're switching gears. I mean, changing the player on the play after each game. Show him a very awkward hand, like 4 lands or something and 3 big mana spells. So I'm kind of forced to pile shuffle here a bit to draw more mixed combination of cards. I would be on the draw, plus I get to scry, so I should be able to get a decent start in hand. Shuffling, shuffling, rifle, rifle. So I need like some Matador, can turn 1 or turn 2, and then 4-drop, 5-drop, or something like that. What could be also like ideal, like Mystic into Corsair or Nisa into just other boom bombs or something like that. That's what I want. I think I kept a mediocre hand. Just a land go. He goes fetch, so second land and a sticker of the way. I just have a temple. I think I had a course in my hand or something like that. I don't know, but it seems like in this matchup the green deck should mulligan much more aggressively. And I think that's what's the collected wisdom from all the good players who play the green devotion decks. Yeah. Two Seekers going into the red zone, D4 damage. No, he just cast a third freaking Seeker of the Way. It would have been so great to be in the post-Cyber game and have like an Anger of the Gods here. But I suppose if it would be post-Cyber games, he probably wouldn't play out all those Seeker of the Ways. Turn for Whisperwood, which is not the worst. But he just smashes in with 3 Seekers. He needs to have like 2 spells to make his Seekers actually do something, but I'm at 14 already due to previous attacks. I for some reason decide to just block one of them. He only has a Raise Alarm, so they're free freeze. And in the second main he casts a Jace. So Whisper would 8 one of his Seekers, but I'm at 8. I unzipped the Corsair, which was the manifest creature, that's why I didn't want to block with it. Play a land from the top. Next up deck is Sylvan Caryatid, which I manifest end of turn and just immediately unzip it so that I have a 3 toughness hexproof blocker for his guys. Next up deck is Nisa. He leads with the Jace. Discarded like Wild Slash or something. No, Outburst, because he didn't have the second red anyway. Jace flips. He flashbacks Raise Alarm. Gives it flashback, but doesn't play it just yet to play mind tricks with me. He has 1 or 2 cards in hand, something like that, maybe 3, I can't quite see. So his Seekers are gonna be at least 3 freeze, potentially 4 4s. So that makes it tricky, but I'm at 9. I have a Corsair, which you probably don't want to block with. I'm at 9, so probably gonna end up trading Whisperwood for a Seeker. And I think I should have blocked Yeah, I don't know, that was a punt. I should have blocked one of the tokens with the carotid. I don't know what I was thinking. It was really safe, no ascendancy in there. He can't kill it, so it took one more damage for no reason. Actually, should have blocked like both tokens, and the second one with the courser. So I took basically 2 damage for no reason. So now my next top deck is Sylvan Carotid, gained the life, going to 8. He's at 44 due to all those seekers. Right. Well, he does his best to leave no damage at the table, like Patrick Sullivan says sometimes, with regard to him playing red decks occasionally. I take a lot of unnecessary damage. So Castanisa here. Forgot to show the top deck, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered because I'm gonna play them to play Genesis Hydra for 2 to have an extra blocker, which can actually trade with one of his guys. I was debating whether to cast it for 2 or for 3, but this guarantees me to have carotid for blocks if I whiff on 3, because even with Nissa in the deck, now there's one less of her left, so there's a big chance to whiff. So I have 4 decent blockers for his 4 guys, no ascendancy yet. He cast a treasure cruise. I think he decided not to loot. Well, he doesn't have the ascendancy in play, right? No, neither. He does have Jace. I'm a Tate, so all he needs to get is second red mana and a couple of stokes. So what? I think he can flashback something with Jace, but I'm not sure. I think Jace was just a 2 and not 3 plus counters. Here's the second red mana, but it's a temple, so he doesn't get to cast much this turn. Oh, I drew a land, I think, and then the top of the deck is a Whisperwood. I get to flip Nissa here. He advises me to actually, instead of just normal lands, lay down the fetch land here, so that I get to change my top deck at any point for the courser. So Nissa flips, and the top of the deck is a Whisperwood. I can either plus Nissa or make a 4/4, and of course it's much better to plus Nissa, draw the Whisperwood, and have a 4/4 plus to manifest. But he corrects me to get the mana from Nyxus before Nissa flips, so that's 1 more mana. That's a good advice. So I got like 6 mana from the Nexus before Nissa flips. From here I draw Whisperwood, top deck is Sylvan Carotids, which is a bad thing. He tells me to crack the fetch now before playing Whisperwood. I was explaining to him that's like, I don't mind manifesting it, I can unzip it and have an extra blocker. But he somehow convinces me that I don't want actually to manifest Carotid anyway, and instead get something more juicy, like a Pulchranis, for example, or a Tarka, I don't know, or like Hornet Queen. So he advises me to fetch actually before the end of the turn, so that I get to manifest something else and not the Carotid. I agree with his logic to some extent, more or less enough like to actually try that out. I suppose this is correct. So we get to see my next deck, which is Rattle Claw, and he thinks it's actually better than the Carotid. Well, I suppose so, because it actually gets to probably trade with a token at least. I think end of turn he casts another Raise Alarm, was it? Yeah, that's what it was. So he has an active Jace. I mean, Jace, it's, what was it, 4 loyalty counters? Or 3? No, I think it was at 4. So it's +2. So he can actually flashback something here. If he wants, like a cruise, she can't really cast just yet. And cruise actually doesn't help him all that much. So let's see what's going to happen next. I think he really needs to find Ascendancy. Well, no, Ascendancy is not that great here anymore. I would have more and more blockers, which are probably going to be bigger than his. So his hope is to actually draw enough of burn spells, I think. He casts an Outburst. Attacks with a bunch of guys, which is strange. So I don't know what he's up to. What could it be? No Ascendancy in play. Is that just weird? I have 5 blockers. I think he had like gazillion soldiers. So block the Seeker with the Manifest, just to be safe. And block everybody else. Like block 4 tokens. I actually ended up taking 4 because there were like 9 soldiers or something total. So I guess that's how he wanted to grind this out. Oh yeah. Okay, he cashes in Chase to put even more tokens. I drew Nissa, then it's a land. It's a bit tricky in which order I should do things here. And then decide to go for the lands for Courser first. Then I see Genesis Hydra. I have shitload of mana. I think there, yeah, I did have a Nexus there. I drew it from the upticking Nissa from the Courser, which is not what I want. The plan is to cast a giant Hydra and dig an Atarka or something like that, because he has so many tokens. This way I get to contain his madness. Courser put me up to 6 life. So he named this token Wild Slash to finish me off. Otherwise everything's good. So I do decide to keep the character up for blockers. So get 7 mana from Nexus and so 5 more lands. So that's Nissa for Hydra for 10. And I did find the Atarka and the Singleton Ugin, which in this spot is actually better because he has so many tokens. I think total like 10 tokens. and Atarka would just like kill 5 of them, and I would still not be able to really attack because it has enough lands. Like if he draws a Ascendancy with like 6 lands in play, so he can actually grow them quite a bit. So Ugin is much safer here. It wipes all his tokens and prevents me from future tokens or even Ascendancy. I would have to kill my Nissa here with Ugin, but that's alright because I have another Nissa in hand, which would automatically get flipped next turn. So I shuffle everything, rebuild from Hydra. Here I would get Manifest end of turn, and I would have a 10-10 Hydra. So it's actually okay here to attack with the other 3 creatures. I mean, Whisperwood, Courser, and the Hydra. So I'm hoping to with a few attacks actually it's his Giant's life total. So taken for A here, he's down at 39. Manifest on the turn. I think it was a land or a carrot, either, or something like that. Ah, it was a second Nixus, yeah. Polocranus on top, also good news for me. Just plays the land and passes. But I could still die here. But I think I had quite a few lands in my hand. So I would at least gain a life each turn to push me out of the burn range. Top deck is another Courser, which is great. I should have played actually Nissa and then play a land to flip the Nissa in my hand. So this way I get to put more pressure, but maybe cast and the Polocranus that turn was more correct. I don't know, but with so much in play and my life getting each turn out of burn range, so he was running out of time, and I suppose he didn't have any burn spells. Maybe like one of them. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. There will be one more video for this series.